And so, Secretary Atalig, I'm sure you're getting a lot of questions now about the second local stimulus. Um, can you tell us what prompted the decision to provide a second local stimulus in your discussions with the governor?
Good question, Tom. It's always been the governor's um, goal to do a stimulus. Obviously, we did the first round of stimulus. It's always been a goal that we were going to do what we can with available funds, should we have available funds in the second year of ARPA. What prompted it more was, as you are aware, we've had several or a couple resolutions from the legislature asking the governor and myself to help out our community with either gas vouchers, gas assistance for fuel because of the high price of fuel, the stations. At the same time, there was one regarding stimulus, an additional stimulus. After review with my ARPA financial analyst, we came up to a number that we can provide an additional stimulus. And so it's within the overall ARPA regs. And so we decided to share that with governor that there is some funds available that could be used. We were able to find some areas where we had in our spending plan that were deemed not eligible for ARPA use. So we are revised our spending plan to reallocate it to help our community.
Can you elaborate more on what the not available for ARPA use was? What were those areas?
Yes, so one major pot of funds that we had allocated in the ARPA spending plan is to assist with Medicaid with their matching, local matching. ARPA has deemed that not allowed. So the funds we have allocated for Medicaid will not be used for local match. Therefore, we have those funds available for other projects and areas in ARPA that the governor decides he wants to fund.
And how much was spent in the first stimulus and how many people received that? And is it safe to assume that the same amount and same number of people will receive it again this time around?
Our current numbers are lower than the first stimulus. The first stimulus, I don't have the exact number of taxpayers that we, I believe it was around 23,000 taxpayers plus their dependents, which totaled about $25 million. Right now, our numbers with the second stimulus is about 21,500 taxpayers and their dependents. And we're looking currently at $17 to $18 million for the rollout. However, we're budgeting the same amount because in order to get the stimulus, they need to file their 2021 taxes. In the previous stimulus, we had data of non-filers, or I should say, filers that did not have to file if they received disability checks or Social Security benefits are not considered income that needs to be filed. So we anticipate about 2,000 to 3,000 other taxpayers that will submit a tax return in order to receive the stimulus.
And so is the process of receiving it and the mode of spending it all still the same? It's going to be issued in the same debit card or a new card?
Yes.
The same.
It's a brand new debit card, and it will be zoned for the CNMI, and it could be used at any of the vendors in the Commonwealth. Keep in mind, the reason we do this is we need to stimulate our CNMI, hence stimulate our economy. So we want vendors to be able to get stimulated with these funds in the community to help our our local coffers.
And can you address why there is an expiration date? I know that this was a concern for the first round in which some people might have not remembered the expiration date, so therefore some funds weren't used. What is the reasoning behind putting an expiration date behind the cards that are already restricted for use within the NMI?
Because we want our citizens to utilize the funds within a period so that we can make sure that they stimulate our economy. It's not a savings program that we're giving our citizens. We're giving them some subsidy so that they can spend on what they need today and what they could use for today. And that's the reason for having a period where they can utilize the funds.
And I also am reading the press release and it talks about it being considered taxable. Was this also the case for the first stimulus as well?
In the first stimulus, we were able to pass a local law to make it non-taxable. We will ask the legislature to again pass or amend the bill that was passed to make the 2020 stimulus non-taxable. We will ask the legislature to again make sure that this is non-taxable.
And I have to ask, I know some viewers have expressed concern over the restriction to use it within the NMI. You've said stimulate the local economy repeatedly so far. I assume that's the reason why you're restricting the use within the NMI. Is there any other message you want to add for those wondering why they're not able to spend this money outside of the NMI's borders?
Keep in mind, this is a local stimulus. It is a stimulus by the CNMI government and the CNMI and the Commonwealth. So we want this money to be spent in our borders, within our borders, so that it's an assistance to our small businesses and businesses in our Commonwealth. We want them to benefit from this, and in return, they will pay BGR taxes. They will pay their employees. They're able to give more hours or open up more hours so that it will help overall our local economy and all our local residents. We want this money to be circulated in our economy. So that is the whole purpose of restricting it to the Commonwealth. Therefore, we don't want vendors to, let's say, a lot of this money going outside to foreign countries or to the US mainland. We want this to stimulate the Commonwealth.
And these cards will be mailed again correctly? That's the only way to receive them?
Yes, so we'll be receiving the cards within the next couple of weeks, and what we'll do is we'll send them out locally to all the PO box of all the taxpayers that submitted a 2021 tax return, and they should be receiving it in their boxes. Our goal is to have it, by June 18, June 20, around that time frame.
And that's for the entire 17,000 that you mentioned that have already?
About 21,300 tax, I'm sorry, our taxpayers and their dependents.
On June 18, you said by?
That's our goal. I'm very confident that we will reach that goal. We're in communication already with our prepaid card provider, and that those should be shipped out next week. And so giving the time frame for when we can get it here on island looks very doable to meet that goal.
And have you addressed the issue of multiple people who are receiving this under the same mailing address? I know that was an issue before. Are you aware of how shared PO boxes might be treated, or do you anticipate that being an issue?
We don't expect it to be. It wasn't a major issue. I know we had some issues with, for example, companies that have all their employees use their PO box or their mailing address, and so they'll get 100 or 30 cards to their box. We hope that the taxpayers are informed that if they did a tax return and whatever PO box they've have on record, that it is going to be shipped to there. They are more than welcome, before we ship it out, that they stop by Rev and Tax and make the corrective change on their PO box, or to ensure that their information is correct. We will use their address that they put on their tax return.
And it says here, for more information, call DRT call center, that's 664-1040. Is there any other way, or what would you have to say for folks who have questions after watching this interview?
They can definitely call the call center. That is probably the best way to contact, or they can email the department at info@bof.gov.mp, and then our IT personnel that handles that account will make sure that Rev and Tax is forwarded those emails. And they are all more than welcome to stop by at DRT in Joten Damden building.
All right, Secretary Atalig, appreciate your time and hope to be in touch as the cards are sent out. Thank you.
Yes, thank you so much, and I wish you a great day.
Thanks.